Let me ask you something. Have you ever let someone's words ruin your whole day? Have you ever allowed another person's negativity to take control of your emotions? If so, I've got news for you. You are giving away your power. But today, right here, right now, you are going to take that power back. Because I'm about to show you the secret to never getting angry, never being bothered, and never letting another person control your emotions again. No one has the power to control how you feel unless you give them that power. Emotions don't just happen to you. They are a result of how you interpret situations and the meaning you assign to them. If someone insults you, it is not their words that create anger. It is your interpretation of those words. You decide whether their opinion matters. You decide whether their words have power. And the truth is, most of the time, we are reacting based on old programming, conditioned responses, and emotional habits that we've never taken the time to challenge. If you want to take control of your emotions, you must first take control of the meaning you assign to events in your life. Think about it. Two people can go through the exact same situation and have completely different reactions. One person gets cut off in traffic and explodes with rage, pounding the steering wheel and cursing under their breath. Another person experiences the same thing but shrugs it off and keeps driving peacefully. What's the difference? It's not the event itself, it's the perception. One person believes they've been disrespected and that belief fuels their anger. The other person sees it as irrelevant, just another driver in a hurry, and they keep moving forward. The power isn't in what happens, the power is in how you choose to see it. Most people go through life on autopilot, letting external events dictate their emotional state. They are happy when things go their way and angry when things don't. They allow circumstances, people, and situations to control their inner world. But here's the hard truth. When you live like that, you are not in control. You are a puppet being pulled by the strings of everything around you. Someone looks at you the wrong way and suddenly your mood shifts. Someone says something you don't like and your whole day is ruined. That is not power. That is emotional slavery. And if you want to rise above it, you have to make a choice. Will I be a victim of my emotions or will I take charge of them? Taking charge of your emotions starts with awareness. You must become conscious of how you react, what triggers you, and why. Most of the time, anger and frustration aren't about the situation at hand. They are about something deeper. If a stranger's rude comment can send you into a spiral of frustration, the problem is not the stranger. The problem is that you are carrying unaddressed emotions within you. You are giving too much weight to opinions that don't matter. You are seeking validation from people who are not even qualified to define your worth. And until you address the root of the issue, you will always be controlled by external forces. The next step is reframing. Reframing is the ability to shift your perspective in real time. Instead of reacting emotionally, you pause and ask yourself, what else could this mean? If someone speaks to you harshly, instead of assuming they are attacking you, consider the possibility that they are having a bad day. If someone criticizes you, instead of feeling offended, consider whether there is something valuable you can learn from their words. The more you train yourself to control the meaning you assign to events, the less power those events will have over your emotions. Another powerful way to take control of your emotions is to separate yourself from the moment. But what if you could zoom out? What if instead of reacting instantly, you paused, took a breath, and asked yourself, will this matter in a week, a month, a year? Most of the things that upset us are completely insignificant in the grand scheme of life. When you zoom out and see the bigger picture, you realize that your peace of mind is far too valuable to be disturbed by temporary frustrations. Building emotional control is a skill, and like any skill, it takes practice. At first, you may still feel the urge to react, but with time, you will gain mastery over your emotions. You will learn to recognize when someone is trying to trigger you, and instead of falling into their trap, you will smile and move on. You will become unshakable, unbothered, and completely in control of how you feel. And when you reach that level, you will notice something powerful. People who once had the ability to upset you will suddenly lose their influence. Their words will no longer have weight. Their negativity will no longer touch you. Because when you master yourself, nothing outside of you can control you. Most people believe that reacting to negativity makes them strong. They think that firing back with anger, proving a point, or putting someone in their place is a sign of power, but the truth is the exact opposite. Reacting emotionally to negativity is a sign of weakness, not strength. It means you are being controlled by external forces instead of being in control of yourself. A truly powerful person doesn't react, they respond. They don't allow themselves to be pulled into unnecessary battles because they understand that emotional stability is the greatest form of strength. When you react instantly to an insult, a rude comment, or an offense, you are not making a conscious choice. You are being controlled. The person who offended you now owns your emotions. They have dictated your state of mind, and you are simply playing along. If they wanted to make you angry, they succeeded. If they wanted to ruin your peace, they won. This is why reaction equals weakness. Because every time you react emotionally, you prove that other people have more control over you than you do. Think about the most powerful and successful people in history. Do they explode in anger when someone insults them? Do they waste energy trying to prove their worth to critics? No. They stay calm. They stay focused. They understand that reacting to negativity is a waste of time and energy. The moment you react, you lose control of the situation. You step into chaos instead of maintaining composure. And once your emotions take over, logic and strategy go out the window. That's exactly why people who can control their emotions always have the upper hand. There's a difference between reacting and responding. Reaction is emotional, impulsive, and usually destructive. Response, on the other hand, is intentional, calculated, and based on wisdom. A strong person doesn't react with anger, they respond with intelligence. They don't allow small-minded people to drag them into drama. They rise above it. They understand that not every battle is worth fighting, and most of the time, the best response is no response at all. The reason people struggle with this is that they feel the need to prove themselves. They think that if they don't react, they are weak. But the real weakness is needing validation from others in the first place. A person who truly knows their worth does not need to defend it. They don't need to argue with fools. They don't need to engage in petty disputes because they are too focused on their vision, their goals, and their purpose. When you stop reacting to negativity, you become untouchable. People lose their ability to manipulate you. They can throw insults, they can try to offend you, but if you don't react, their power disappears. Imagine how much energy you would save if you no longer allowed people to push your buttons. Imagine how much more peace you would have if you decided that nothing and no one was worth disturbing your emotional state. That level of self-mastery is rare, but it is available to anyone who is willing to develop it. This doesn't mean you should ignore everything or let people walk all over you. It means you must choose your battles wisely. Some situations require a firm response, but even then, that response should come from a place of power, not emotion. A strong person never acts out of anger, frustration, or ego. They act with purpose, wisdom, and clarity. They decide when and how they will engage rather than being dragged into unnecessary conflict. Mastering your emotions is one of the highest levels of power you can achieve. When you stop reacting, you start thinking. When you stop letting emotions control you, you start making better decisions. And when you start making better decisions, you position yourself for greater success. The world belongs to those who can control themselves, because the moment you master your reactions, you master your destiny. Everything you experience in life is filtered through your perception. It's not the event itself that shapes your reality, but how you interpret that event. Two people can go through the exact same situation and come out with completely different experiences, not because the situation was different, but because their perception of it was. One person sees failure as a disaster, while another sees it as a lesson. One person sees rejection as proof that they're not good enough, while another sees it as redirection to something greater. The same event, two different perceptions, and two completely different outcomes. Most people don't realize that their perception is a choice. They assume that the way they see the world is just the way it is. But the truth is, perception is something you have complete control over. You can train yourself to see opportunity where others see obstacles. You can train yourself to find lessons in hardships. You can train yourself to focus on what is within your control instead of what isn't. But the problem is most people are conditioned to focus on negativity. They have developed the habit of interpreting events in a way that disempowers them rather than strengthens them. Your perception is shaped by your beliefs, and your beliefs are shaped by your past experiences, your upbringing, and the influences around you. If you grew up hearing that money is hard to come by, your perception of wealth will be one of struggle. If you were constantly told that people can't be trusted, your perception of relationships will be filled with suspicion. But just because you were conditioned to see the world a certain way doesn't mean you have to stay trapped in that mindset. You have the power to reprogram your perception and see things differently. And when you change the way you see things, the things you see begin to change. Every situation you encounter in life presents you with a choice. You can choose to see it as an obstacle, or you can choose to see it as an opportunity. You can see a closed door as rejection, or you can see it as protection. You can see criticism as an attack, or you can see it as valuable feedback for growth. The way you interpret events determines how you feel, how you act, and ultimately the results you create in your life. This is why two people can be in the same circumstances, yet one feels like a victim while the other feels empowered. It all comes down to perception. The most successful people in the world aren't the ones who avoid hardship. They're the ones who perceive hardship differently. They don't see failure as something to be feared. They see it as a stepping stone to success. They don't see obstacles as roadblocks. They see them as puzzles to be solved. They don't see rejection as a personal attack. They see it as a redirection to something better. Because of this mindset, they move forward with confidence while others get stuck in self-doubt. Their perception shapes their reality in a way that makes success inevitable. Many people walk through life feeling powerless, but they don't realize that the real power lies in their ability to control how they see things. The moment you stop seeing problems as roadblocks and start seeing them as challenges to overcome, your life will change. The moment you stop seeing setbacks as failures and start seeing them as lessons, you will grow. The moment you stop believing that life is happening to you and start believing that life is happening for you, you will reclaim your power. Your reality is not determined by what happens. Even in the worst situations, there is always a perspective that empowers you. History is full of people who have gone through extreme hardships, yet chose to see their struggle as fuel for greatness. People who have faced rejection, betrayal, and loss, but use those experiences to build strength instead of weakness. The difference between those who rise and those who fall is not in what they experience, but in how they perceive what they experience. When you master your perception, you master your emotions. When you master your emotions, you master your actions. And when you master your actions, you shape your destiny. Your mind is the lens through which you see the world. And that lens can either magnify problems or magnify possibilities. The more you train yourself to see things in a way that empowers you, the more you will attract success, joy, and peace into your life. Most people want to change their circumstances, but the real transformation happens when you change your perception of those circumstances. Because the truth is, life doesn't happen to you. It happens through you. And the way you see it determines the way you experience it. Your thoughts are the foundation of your entire life. Everything you do, everything you feel, and everything you become starts with a thought. Most people don't realize how much power their thoughts have because they have never taken the time to observe them. They go through life on autopilot, letting whatever pops into their mind dictate their emotions and actions. But if you don't take control of your thoughts will take control of you. And if your mind is filled with doubt, fear, and negativity, your life will reflect that. Mastering your thoughts is the first step to mastering your reality. The problem is that most people are constantly feeding their minds the wrong things. They spend hours scrolling through negativity on social media, listening to toxic conversations, and consuming information that keeps them stuck in a cycle of fear and limitation. They allow their minds to be programmed by outside influences instead of taking responsibility for what they focus on. But just like your body becomes weak when you feed it junk, your mind becomes weak when you feed it negativity. And if you want to master your thoughts, you must become intentional about what you allow into your mental space. Every thought you entertain either strengthens or weakens you. Thoughts of doubt make you hesitate. Thoughts of fear make you shrink. Thoughts of failure make you quit before you even start. But thoughts of confidence make you move forward. Thoughts of strength make you push through. Thoughts of success make you take action even when you don't feel like it. The difference between a person who succeeds and a person who fails is not talent, luck, or opportunity. It is how they think. A weak mind produces weak results, while a strong mind produces extraordinary outcomes. The first step to mastering your thoughts is awareness. Most people don't even realize how much negativity runs through their minds on a daily basis. They wake up complaining, they go through the day doubting themselves, and they go to sleep worrying about things they can't control. And then they wonder why they feel stuck. But the moment you start paying attention to your thoughts, you gain the ability to change them. When you catch yourself thinking small, you can shift to thinking big. When you catch yourself dwelling on problems, you can shift to focusing on solutions. Awareness is the key that unlocks the door to transformation. The second step is replacing negative thoughts with empowering ones. You can't just remove negative thoughts, you have to replace them with something stronger. If you constantly think, I'm not good enough, you must replace it with, I am more than capable. If you often think, what if I fail? You must replace it with, what if I succeed? Your mind is like a garden. If you don't plant positive seeds, weeds will grow by default. And if you allow those weeds to take over, they will choke out your potential before it even has a chance to bloom. The third step is discipline. Mastering your thoughts is not something you do once. It is something you must practice daily. You have to be intentional about guarding your mind against negativity. That means being mindful of what you consume, who you listen to, and how you speak to yourself. It means challenging every thought that does not serve you and refusing to let fear dictate your actions. It means training your mind to focus on what is possible rather than what is impossible. Discipline is what separates those who wish for success from those who create it. Most people don't fail because they lack ability. They fail because they think themselves into failure. They overanalyze, they doubt, they hesitate, and they let fear talk them out of taking action. But the people who rise to the top understand that thoughts create reality. They condition their minds to expect success, and because they believe it so strongly, they take the actions necessary to make it happen. They do not allow their minds to be poisoned by negativity. They master their thoughts so that their thoughts can serve them instead of sabotage them. Your mind is the most powerful tool you have, but it can either be your greatest weapon or your greatest weakness. If you don't control what you think, your thoughts will control you. And if your thoughts control you, they will control your future. Every great achievement starts in the mind long before it happens in reality. And every failure begins in the mind long before it manifests in life. The sooner you master your thoughts, the sooner you will master everything else. Most people go through life chained to their emotions, reacting to every situation, every comment, and every setback as if their entire identity depends on it. They are attached to opinions, attached to circumstances, attached to the need for approval, and because of that, they live in a constant state of stress and frustration. They allow every small inconvenience to disturb their peace. They take every insult personally. They let other people's negativity dictate their emotions. But the truth is, the more you are attached to things outside of your control, the more powerless you become. Detachment is not about ignoring life. It's about rising above the things that do not serve you. When you are attached to the need for validation, you give other people control over your self-worth. If someone praises you, you feel good. If someone criticizes you, you feel bad. Your confidence becomes dependent on the opinions of others, and the moment they withdraw their approval, your sense of self crumbles. But when you detach from the need to be liked, you free yourself from this emotional roller coaster. You stop seeking permission to be great. You stop allowing external forces to dictate how you see yourself. Instead of looking outward for confidence, you build it from within. And when you do that, nothing and no one can take it away from you. Detachment is also necessary when it comes to handling negativity. Weak people are easily offended. They get caught up in arguments, waste time defending themselves, and feel the need to prove their worth to people who don't even matter. But strong people detach. They understand that most negativity is a reflection of the other person, not them. They don't waste energy trying to change people who are committed to misunderstanding them. They don't let criticism or insults shake their confidence. They simply observe, understand, and move on. because they know that engaging with small-minded people only brings them down to their level. The higher you go in life, the more you